Welcome to Newscasting Ancient Times. I'm Sandi Craig, and on behalf of the LAMB network, I'm here with Mark David Smith to bring you Brit Hadashah accounts as though they happened today.
It helped by bringing me in. Welcome, everybody. I trust your week has been blessed and you've been a blessing to everyone you've come in contact with. Sandi, here we go again.
That's right. I know. I read the report, Mark, and apparently the Torah teachers and the Pershim had a field day with Yeshua last week. I really think there's something being planned behind the scenes. It just feels like it with the way the new report from Matthew is worded.
I agree. The Torah teachers and the Pershim are relentless with the questions and accusations. Matthew lays out an interesting scenario of conversations that all happened over a very short period of time, short period of a couple of days, even.
That's right. And if you follow us on a regular basis, you know that Lamb Network has now employed one of Yeshua's Talmudim as an embedded reporter with their ranks.
That's right, Sandi. And when Matthew and his wife, Deborah, were here with us on the show, live and in person last week, they gave us a new perspective concerning their meaning Yeshua and his Talmudim, concerning their work in the communities around Israel and
you can say it, Mark, Yeshua the Messiah, Yeshua HaMashiach. It was an astonishing new perspective that I have personally, I've taken it to heart. I've done a lot of soul searching and even more spiritual scrutinizing to help bring me to a place where I can stop the constant questioning of Yeshua's place in my life.
Yeah, I got it. Yeah, I will also confess to my soul searching. Matthew and Deborah made some incredible concreted points that are very hard to dispute. And that balance that plays into their story has helped my laboring over this issue to end. I too believe Yeshua is the Messiah, and I am already delving into Torah to help me solidify this decision.
It looks like it's a whole new world out there for us, Mark.
And I think it's only just begun.
Do you have Matthew's report with you?
I've got it right here. Yes, and Matthew has given us, how do I say it, an interesting way to write a report, but I think I like it. Sandi, it's pretty much written out for us and doesn't seem like it needs any comments. Let's split it up and give it the way it's written for now, and then we'll add what we will as we go along.
All right. Sounds like a plan.
All right, I'll start it off. What we have here, Matthew writes, Yeshua went to the Mount of Olives. At daybreak, he appeared in the temple court where all the people gathered around him, and he sat down to teach them. The Torah teachers and the Pershim brought a woman who had been caught committing adultery and made her stand in the center of the group. Then they said to him, Rabbi, this woman was caught in the very act of committing adultery. Now, in our Torah, Moshe commanded that such a woman be stoned to death. What do you say about it? Matthew says that they said this to trap him so that they might have grounds for bringing charges against him. But Yeshua bent down and began writing in the dust with his finger. When they kept questioning him, he straightened up and said to them, the one of you who is without sin, let him be the first to throw a stone at her. Then he bent down and wrote in the dust again. On hearing this, they began to leave one by one, the older ones first, until he was left alone with the woman standing still there. Standing up, Yeshua said to her, where are they? Has no one condemned you? She said, No one, sir. Yeshua said, Neither do I condemn you. Now go and don't sin anymore.
Wow. Well, here we go. On several occasions, Yeshua was confronted concerning the validity of his claims to be the Messiah. At one point, several of the Parashim approached Yeshua all at once. He responded, I am the light of the world. Whoever follows me will never walk in darkness, but will have the light which gives life. The Parashim said to him, Now you're testifying on your own behalf. Your testimony is not valid. Yeshua answered them, Even if I do testify on my own behalf, my testimony is indeed valid because I know where I came from and where I'm going, but you do not know where I came from or where I'm going. You judge by merely human standards. As for me, I pass judgments on no one. But if you were indeed to pass judgment, my judgment would be valid because it is not I alone who judge, but I and the one who sent me. And even in your Torah, it is written that the testimony of two people is valid. I myself testify on my own behalf, and does the Father who sent me. So does he.
Wow.
Then they said to him, Where is this Father of yours? And Yeshua answered, You know neither me nor my Father. If you knew me, you would know my Father too. He said these things when he was teaching in the temple treasury room, yet no one arrested him because his time had not yet come. Mark.
Mm-hmm. Over the next couple of days, the Torah teachers and Prashim continued to grill Yeshua. Yeshua told them, I am going away and you will look for me, but you will die in your sin. Where I am going, you cannot come. The Judeans asked, Is he going to commit suicide? Is that what he means when he says, where I'm going, you cannot come? Yeshua said to them, You are from below and I am from above. You are of this world. I am not of this world. This is why I said to you that you will die in your sins. For if you do not trust that I am, you will die in your sins. At this, they inquired of Yeshua, You? Who are you? Yeshua answered, Just what I've been telling you from the start. Makes me angry. There are many things I could say about you and many judgments I could make. However, the one who sent me is true. So I say in the world only what I have heard from him. They did not understand what he was talking about to them about the Father. So Yeshua said, When you lift up the Son of Man, then you will know that I am, and that of myself I do nothing, but say only what the Father has taught me. Also, the one who sent me is still with me. He did not leave me to myself because I always do what pleases him. Sandy?
Well, many people who heard him say these things trusted in him. So Yeshua said to the Judeans who had trusted him, If you obey what I say, then you are really my Talmudim. You will know the truth, and the truth will set you free. They answered, We are the seed of Avram, and have never been slaves to anyone. So what do you mean by saying you will be set free? And Yeshua answered them, Yes, indeed. I tell you that everyone who practices sin is a slave of sin. Now, a slave does not remain with a family forever, but a son does remain with it forever. So
Wow.
the son frees you. You will really be free
Wow.
if he frees you. So I know you are of the seed of Abraham, yet you are out to kill me because what I am saying makes no headway in you. I say what my father has shown me, and you do what your father has told you. They answered him, Our father is Abraham. Yeshua replied, If you are children of Abraham, then do the things Abraham did. As it is, you're out to kill me, a man who's told you the truth, which I heard from God. Abraham did nothing like that. You are doing the things your father does. We're not illegitimate children, they said to him. We have only one Father, God. Yeshua replied to them, if God were your father, you would love me, because I came out from God, and now I have arrived here. I did not come on my own. He sent me. Why don't you understand what I'm saying? Because you can't bear to listen to my message. You
Wow.
belong to your father,
Wow.
Hasatan, and
Wow.
you want to carry out your father's desires? From the start, he was a murderer, and he has never stood by the truth, because there is no truth in him. When he tells a lie, he's speaking in character, because he is a liar indeed, the inventor of the lie. But as for me, because I tell the truth, you don't believe me. Which one of you can show me where I'm wrong? If I'm telling you the truth, why don't you believe me? Whoever belongs to God listens to what God says. The reason you don't listen is that you don't belong to God.
Wow.
Yeah. The Judeans answered him, aren't we right in saying you are from Shomron and have a demon? Yeshua replied, me? I have no demon. I am honoring my Father, but you dishonor me. I am not seeking praise for myself. There is one who is seeking it, and he's the judge. Yes, indeed, I tell you that whoever obeys my teaching will never see death. The Judeans said to him, now we know for sure that you have a demon. Abraham died, and so did the prophets, yet you say whoever obeys my teaching will never taste death. Abraham Avinu died. You aren't greater than he, are you? And the prophets also died. Who do you think you are? Yeshua answered, if I praise myself, my praise counts for nothing. The one who is praising me is my Father, the very one whom you keep saying he is our God. Now you have not known him, but I do know him. Indeed, if I were to say that I don't know him, I would be a liar like you. But I do know him, and I obey his word. Abraham, your father, was glad that he would see my day. Then he saw it and was overjoyed. Why, you're not yet 50 years old, the Judeans replied, and you've seen Abraham? Yeshua said to them, yes, indeed. Before Abraham came into being, I am. At this, they picked up stones to throw at him, but Yeshua was hidden and left the temple grounds. Wow, Mark.
That's quite a discourse. That right there in itself.
Well,
that was it. You know, the Spirit of the Lord. Anyway,
yeah.
I believe those are the strongest words I've ever heard anyone speak. Yeshua's truth outweighs any. Well, Yeshua's truth outweighs anything. That's all
Yes,
there is to it.
you're right. It's like we hear it from a whole new perspective. Thank you so much, Matthew, for documenting these incidents with such amazing accuracy so that we can all experience it.
Yeah. I'm with you. I agree. Matthew's report in the future will be most excellent for sure.
Party on, dude.
So Yeshua used I am to describe himself.
The only teaching I've heard all my life is that this expression is the unmentionable name of God, the Tetragrammaton.
Yeah, that's what I understand too. The Judeans must have been beside themselves when Yeshua said it.
Mark, nobody says it. Nobody.
I know. I like it. I like the boldness of Yeshua. I like that he doesn't back down when they question him. I like that he knows Torah inside and out and has the right, truthful perspective about it. I heard that Yeshua was teaching the Torah teachers when he was 12 years old, Sandi. 12 years old.
More. We need more of Yeshua.
Yeah.
What's next, Mark?
Yeah. Well, for right now, next is next week and whatever Matthew sends us, I guess.
Don't stop, Matthew. Keep them coming.
Yeah,
Should
for sure.
someone be keeping track and documenting the things Yeshua does while he's here with us? Shouldn't someone be writing a book?
Well, maybe even 3 or 4 books.
Well, I'm beginning to think that there are no books large enough to contain all that Yeshua is actually doing here on
Yeah,
earth.
I'm with you. And if there's life on other planets, I'm sure that he must know.
Do you think he's been there once already? And what's the next line again?
uh, Maybe it'll be written in the future, Sandy, and we'll take it from there.
Mr. Smith.
And Mrs. Craig, where do we go from here?
Say it.
Be blessed and be a blessing to everyone you meet.
That's it for this edition of Newscasting Ancient Times. I'm Sandi Craig.
And I'm Mark David Smith. Shalom.
That was great.
It's about time those guys came around. I'm telling you, man. All that evidence right in front of their face.
And they just kept refusing and refusing and refusing. It's time. Yes.
Past time. Now we can take it from this step on. It starts getting real hairy anyway in his ministry. So it's better to report it from a different frame of mind. I was thinking. I was trying to reason out the whole picture and how it will progress from there. And I got to thinking, this is real good. And so anyway, I enjoyed it.
I did too. And yeah.
So how's Sandy Lou?
Good. I actually have our two live Ancient Times broadcasts ready for you to have. Newscasting Ancient Times with all of us live, our reporters and everything.
Oh, yeah.
So
that would be cool.
You'll have those.
That would be cool, yeah. I like it. I like it a lot. Oh, well, we'll get there.
Yeah, we'll get there. Hey, do you like apples?
I do.
Yeah.
Adventures, it's a little bit harder to do, but slice them up. Of course, everybody likes apples. Who doesn't like an apple?
Well, I love apples. In fact, yes, I love them. But did you know the apples in the grocery store can be up to 1 year old?
Yeah, they taste like it.
Well, I don't have apple trees in my backyard.
I don't either.
So I don't have a choice. I've got to get them from the grocery store. And my granddaughter loves them, although I am slicing them right now because her 2 front teeth are loose. So she can't bite into the apple right now. Or she'll do what she did on her last tooth. She accidentally swallowed it.
Oh, yeah. I remember that.
Yeah.
I remember that. Yep. She came back to Sakot all excited, but a little off-centered.
Because she swallowed her tooth.
Yeah, because she swallowed. That was good. I remember. Very cool.
Anyway, if we think about how old some of that food is in the store.
Yeah, makes you wonder. That's why the produce, I don't know if you guys have a lot of them around there. And of course, you live in the city. We kind of live countryside a little bit. And there's a lot of produce places around. Not this time of year so much, but here coming up in a couple of months, there will be. That's where we try to buy all our produce, during most of the time of the year. But, in the wintertime, you kind of, whatever's in Walmart, got to be good.
Yeah. Well, here, our markets, they don't even start having farmers markets till July 4th.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, the week of July
Wow.
4th. So we have, and then we only have till September, beginning of October usually. So our window to get fresh is very small.
Huh.
Although I will say we're going to have to do something and get things ready because it was supposed to be a cool, wet winter. And we did get, actually, Plainview got 13 inches of snow on Sunday, on the first day of the week. But we generally haven't had that much. And it's already going to be in the 70s, which is not normal. Now it's probably going to freeze again too, because it's been in the 60s this week, and then it's going to freeze. And then next week it's going to be in the 70s. And my garden's not ready to go. And if I put it out there, it'd probably freeze and die anyway. But I can't say that because I do have things that are growing right now. But nonetheless, I think the land might be a little confused in the panhandle of Texas as to what season it is. So,
Yeah.
yeah.
Our temperature stays within a range, and I mean we're not much different. We talk to people all the time about their snow and their ice and their rain and all this kind of stuff, and we're just kind of sitting here just in our regular old 50 to 70 degree weather and all that kind of stuff. And so hey, Sandi, I lived in the Midwest
You know it.
almost all my life.
You did.
I can be done with it if I want to be.
That's exactly right. I have no problem. I'm just sometimes a little, I think about you and that weather there, and I'm like,
Yeah,
oh,
yeah, nice.
yeah.
Well, so what about apples now? You were real big on apples there for a second. Just because they could be a year old. And why is that? Is there just not enough? Is there so much food that they can make that last, or what's the deal?
I can't tell you that, but I do know apples, as well as a lot of that produce, have stuff on them that you need to wash off. I don't think
Well,
I ever
yeah,
get it off very well, but
yeah. There's a lot of stuff that's put in the ground
Roundup,
when
other
they.
things. I'm not, maybe not Roundup, but there's something they put on there. I don't know what the name is. Joe might know, or somebody else, but I don't know what it is. It's some kind of coating to make them last a year.
Yeah, I know. And Donna's planting a lot of stuff, which I'm sure you probably are already. Oh, maybe you're not.
I am
Winter
starting
crops.
today. Today I'm about to put seed in the
Yeah.
house.
Okay.
My beds are all full right now because they have broccoli and cauliflower and cabbage
Mhm.
and herbs because I've been growing them all winter. So all my beds are actually full of produce right now.
Yeah.
It's just about time to start the spring produce so I can get it in the ground soon.
Yeah, I doubt we'll have another frost this year. So
Oh,
yeah,
how wonderful.
you guys can have as many as you want. All right. Well, that's the joys. Speaking of your down there in Texas, in your area, did you hear about the shooting at Lakewood Church in Houston?
John did mention it to me, and immediately, because you can carry in Texas, they were taken care of.
Yeah, they were, except that the woman that did the shooting also brought her 7-year-old son that also got shot. And so not right.
The woman who did the shooting, I heard a different report on that.
No,
I might
John,
have to ask John.
you might need to look that up because it was a woman. She got shot dead, and I think she killed one other person or something. But she had brought her 7-year-old son, and he's in the hospital in critical condition right now.
Well, I am gonna have to check with John because he told me it was a transgender, et cetera, et cetera. So,
Not that I know of. She's just was mentally ill is all that was mentioned on the news report I got, which was pretty
well,
simple.
to me, I hate it that that happened, but it's a testament to why we need to be able to bear arms. That is a
100%.
that should not happen, because if you don't, the bad guys will always have them.
Uh-huh.
But if the good guys don't have them,
Uh-huh.
there's no defense. But we shouldn't even have to. I heard somebody talk about, yes, it's a constitutional right, but it's before the Constitution. you can, and I can't remember what they said. It was so moving. Um, yes, you have the right to take care of yourself and defend yourself, et cetera, et cetera. And yes, I am pro carry, pro gun. That's
Yes.
yep.
Well, all the ridiculousness of people wanting to stop, I get stopping the sales of, you know, I, I I don't know where to go with that, but the fact that they want to regulate what guns we have and that all that kind of stuff. It's like sometimes I just don't get their talking about the government, whatever. I don't get their logic on things, and the people that are in office that think of these things. Where do they get their logic? And is that why
Because
we're in such a low state today? Is because people think that way?
because they don't want opposition when they enforce their agenda, and they round you up for whatever camp or whatever they want to do. If you're a believer, or if you're a person who believes in freedom and the way this country is founded, if you are one of those people, you're on their list, and they want to get rid of you. And usually those people will have something to defend themselves. So how do they eliminate people, those people? Or even though if they can get rid of the rights and criminalize anybody that's good,
Mm-hmm.
then they can more easily put forth their agenda, accomplish their agenda. And have the drones and the, what would you call the zombified people that say yes sir, whatever,
Sure.
to their mantra. And that's all they'll have.
Yeah.
And then the people that are already enslaved and they don't even know it
Uh-huh.
will do their bidding. The
Yeah.
few that are left, that is, because they do want to reduce that number as well. So by a lot.
Well, all they're trying to do is balance things out, Sandy. They
Oh,
just
that's
want
a
to balance the planet.
bunch of phooey.
You know? I
That's a bunch of phooey.
I think what their problem is they're afraid too many people are going to go to one part of the planet and it's going to knock the planet off balance or something. If you have 2 or 3 billion people all within a small area, then the planet's like, wait, hold up, there's no balance here.
I would be fine if the people that believe that way would just go to an area of the planet and they could all be together and live under their rules
Yeah.
and their socialism and communism. And I would be fine with that. Very fine. And then the rest of us who follow the truth, who follow Yahweh, Yeshua, or even Jesus, can live on with us and follow his ways. Oh, isn't that his land? Oh, I forgot. Yeshua's about to take care of that, isn't he? Where every knee will bow and every tongue confess that he is Yah. Yes.
That's right. That's right. Well, there's another, possible perspective from that, because if those people that believe that we don't need guns to defend ourselves, then maybe they're the ones that are actually living on flat earth. And if they had 6 billion people all living over on this side, then maybe they're afraid it would throw the flat earth off balance and everybody would just slide off the side there. That's another perspective.
It
Sandy.
is. How many people do you think we've alienated so far this morning? Sorry, folks. Yeah, I'm not gonna
only the bad ones.
I'm not gonna sit there and pet your feelings. I'm gonna tell you the truth, because that's what yes, that's what I'm gonna do. So
and you'll always get alternative perspectives from me. Okay, Sandy's pretty set, but I'm going to be able to give you options here. So,
what? Hold on a minute. I've got to take care of this.
That's a raccoon.
For some reason, that cat will start crying like that, and if you say his name, he'll stop.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
He just wants acknowledgement.
Something. He wants something.
We're good. All right. Are you? The only reason I really well, not the only reason that I wanted to bring it up is John Osteen. I call it John Osteen Church. It's Joel Osteen, his son.
I gotcha.
But I used to go to John Osteen.
As did John. Or yeah,
before it was a mega church,
right.
And so whenever I hear Osteen or Lakewood pop up, then my ears pop up and say, oh, take a look at this. Anyway, are you ready to go on to second, third?
I am.
All right, see you there.
We'll be dancing in the streets, dancing at his feet, dancing in the streets of gold. We'll be dancing in the streets, dancing at his feet.
A Tale of Two Masters. Two masters. Can we serve both? Well, let's look at Matthew 6:24. No one can serve two masters, for either he will hate the one and love the other, or he will hold to one and despise the other. You cannot serve God and mammon. Preachers a lot of times are accused of talking about money, but let me tell you, folks, that's a big topic for Yeshua. He talks about that more than hell and some other things. He talks about money because what we seem to have a God in this world that drives things, and it all has to do with money. In fact, why? Well, there's a reason that Yeshua said it, because he knew these things would be so, and he wanted to address it. He wanted us to get into the right kingdom mind and kingdom principle living about finances and about our lives and about the things that we have or don't have, so that we would walk in his kingdom and ensure our provision and so much more, because we're in his kingdom and following his kingdom principles. Yeshua didn't talk about money to get people into his ministry, and I dare say that most of us don't do that. Most people who are in ministry, whether it's in a church form or like the Lamb Network, you do it because you want to reach and touch and change people's lives, and you receive honestly very little yourself. And maybe that's not good either, because a workman's worthy of his hire, but that's the truth. So let's get that big mega church money coming in, flowing, abundance perspective, push it aside, because that's not where most of us live. Most of us don't live there at all. But money is a rival god in this society and in every culture, I really think, because a lot of people, more people wreck and ruin their lives seeking money than they do anything else. And I'm not talking about the rich guy. You may take a step back. What do you mean? I'm not talking about the rich guy here, folks, because money is a good thing. In and of itself, it's not bad. But it is a terrible master. And if you fall in love with money, you're going to open Pandora's box for sure. 1 Timothy 6:10 says, for the love of money is the root of all kinds of evil, for which some have strayed from the faith in their greediness and pierced themselves through with many sorrows. But I want to go back. It says all kinds of evil. There's more than one. So one more time, I'm not talking about those that are trying to hold up and get as much as they can. We're not talking about that. I'm going to talk about you and me and our love of money, or our love of this master. That's probably a better way to say it, because in and of itself, I don't think we love that. But what is our master? So we've got to be careful. We've got to be careful when we're dealing with this subject. And yeah, you don't tune out because you don't want to hear it. You need to hear it, because we surely can have both Yah and money, but you can't serve both. So is there an easy way to tell who your true master is? Well, probably so. We just may not like to think about it or hear it or experience it, because most of us would never, ever, ever admit to ourselves, or anyone else for that matter, that money drives us. But in reality, are we still serving money? Are we in love with money? Or are we in pursuit of money? Or are we, when I'm talking money, I'm talking finances, I'm talking things like that. So how do we test ourselves one more time? Well, let's look at Matthew 6:24, because he did say, talk about the love of money there, but the following 10 verses probably are going to hit home a little bit more closely to us, because he connected those together for a reason, because it's going to speak to you and I. It goes on in verse 25, Matthew 6:25. Therefore, I say to you, do not worry about your life, what you will eat or what you will drink, nor about your body, what you will put on. Is not life more than food, and the body more than clothing? Look at the birds of the air, for they neither sow nor reap nor gather into barns, yet your heavenly Father feeds them. Are you not of more value than they? Which of you by worrying can add one more cubit to his stature? Who can do that? So why do you worry about clothing? Consider the lilies of the field, how they grow. They neither toil nor spin. And yet I say to you that even Solomon in all his glory was not arrayed like one of these. Now, if God so clothes the grass of the field, which today is and tomorrow is thrown into the oven, will he not much more clothe you, O you of little faith? Therefore, do not worry, saying, what shall we eat, or what shall we drink, or what shall we wear? How will we pay those bills? Okay, that part's not in there, guys. For after all these things the Gentiles seek, for your heavenly Father knows what you need, all these things. But seek first the kingdom of God and his righteousness, and all these things shall be added to you. Therefore, do not worry about tomorrow, for tomorrow will worry about its own things. Sufficient for the day it is its own trouble. So here we have those verses right there are connected with this love, or quote, this pursuit of finances, this pursuit of money. Worry and money go together, right? In our lives, yeah, they do. I mean, I'm right up there with you. Sometimes, whether it's personally or it's like at Life of Worship, I'm like, okay, how does this going to work? What's going to happen here? Yah seems to always come through because he is true to his word. He is Jehovah Jireh. He's our provider. But it is something that we face, each of us, on a day-to-day basis, even because so many of us are not those big people that have abundant resources. We're the month-to-month, week-to-week people. But if we're worried about it, I'm going to tell you something. We could be serving another God as well, because that's where our mind is at. That's where our thoughts are at. That's where our focus is at, is how am I going to take care of this? What am I going to do? I've got to work more. I've got to work harder. I've got to have ingenious ideas. I've got to think of these things. How am I going to make ends meet? How am I going to pay these bills? And we begin to work and work, and our mind is there instead of on Yah, instead of on his things. In fact, it consumes us so much that we often push the time away from him, because we've got to work more. We've got to work harder in order to take care of the things in our life that are just basic necessities these days. But yet, what happens when we do that? I want to tell you, you just adopted or allowed in a spirit of slavery. And I've seen it. I've seen it in my own family. I've seen it, the spirit of slavery that's upon you, where you think you have no way out. That spirit of slavery where you are building storehouses for Pharaoh, paying the taxes, doing what we have to do, trying to just barely getting by, and everything that whole thing consumes your time and your thoughts, your worry, your effort, and you love Yah, but you don't have time for Yah anymore. Not like you want to, not like you would love, because you are under a different master. You're serving mammon. You're serving money. Imagine two different slave owners with equal possession over the same slave. They make competing demands on the time, on the service, but that one person, that one slave, cannot loyally serve both simultaneously. It's going to be one or the other. Yeshua said, no one can serve two masters. Either he will hate one and love the other, or else he will hold to one and despise the other. That Hebrew idiom of the master's teaching is contrast of love and hate, indicates the preference because of the order. But let's just bring it down. In other words, the slave will, by way of necessity, may prefer one master over the other, but the slave's divided loyalties can't serve both, because you can't worry and worry and worry and work and work and work, and you're putting in however many hour days, and you give God, you love Yah, and you try to fit him in this little place, even if at all, because your wheels are spinning, because you're not by your own choice, but you've been enslaved with that spirit of slavery, and you're serving Pharaoh. You're You're serving money because it's driving you. Okay, so let's go back to that thought with a slave with two different owners. That's completely absurd. Yeah, how could that even happen? But there's an apocryphal version of that verse that I just read, and it's in the Gospel of Thomas 47. It says, a person cannot mount two horses or bend two bows, and a slave cannot serve two masters. Otherwise, that slave will honor the one and offend the other. So, one more time, who are the two masters? Well, Matthew 6:24 says mammon. It's an Aramaic word that's used in rabbinic Hebrew for money. As some would say, it's even in the midst of all these Aramaic or other words, it's got these Hebrew origins. So why did Yeshua throw it in there? Because he has a reason and a purpose, because he wants to wake us up. He wants to draw attention to it. So here's this word for money, wealth, possessions, and it can even go eventually to materialism. So when he begins to tell us not to serve two masters, I want us to begin to think of that tax master or the taskmaster that's over nations. And what do we have to do with entering into covenant with that? Why are we building these treasure houses for Pharaoh? We say it's not by choice, but yet I'm going to touch a sacred cow here, what nobody ever wants to hear about. When we are not following Yah's principles on our money that he has given us, our increase, that is, not money, increase, it's called tithing. Malachi is very specific. It says you're under curse if you don't do it. Oh, but that doesn't matter anymore. It does not. Let's see. Isn't he the same yesterday, today, and forever? That he changeth not. His principles haven't changed. It was established well before the priesthood. So don't give that an excuse. In fact, you can go to my channel and listen to all my series on that, and I cover every ground for you and destroy every argument. But nonetheless, what are we supposed to do? We're supposed to bring forth our first fruits to him, so that we can be in his system. And how can you do that when you don't even have enough to pay the bills? I'm telling you time and time and time again, if you bring it out first, somehow it makes the rest work. And if you don't, you're never going to have enough. But if all we're doing is building these treasuries and the storehouses for the taskmaster Pharaoh, the system that we're in, and then pushing Yah and doing his word only if there's enough, it's never going to work. You are still under that slavery, and you're not even going to see it. Yah just wants us to be in that place of provision. He wants us to be in that place where we're following his word, so that we can receive and be provided for as he says. So building treasure cities and storehouses for Pharaoh. While in Egypt, the Israelites built these places, these storehouses, so to speak. Exodus 1:11 says, therefore they did not set Sum over their taskmasters to afflict them with their burdens. And they built Pharaoh treasure cities, Pithom and Ramses, treasure cities. That's what we're building for the enemy when we're not walking in Yah's ways, when we're worrying and fretting and serving another master. So let's look at treasure. It's miskana. It's Strong's number 4553. Or when you look at it, it's supply, storage, grain, storage house, grain. In other words, the people brought their tithe to Pharaoh. Well, I don't tithe to the government. Oh, well, they're going to get it out of you one way or the other. And not even through the taxes. It's going to come out one way or the other. If you don't give it to Yah, then things are going to break down. Things are going to happen in your life, et cetera, et cetera. And that money's leaving your pocket, but you're not going to like the way it is. So what did they do? In other words, they brought their tithe to Pharaoh that may not have called it a tithe, but that's what it was, because they were building his cities. They stored in his storehouse. The enemy storehouse. They had no problem bringing it to Pharaoh, because that was the rule, that they were under that slave mentality, and they were under that taskmaster, that slave owner, that master. And so it's just what they had to do, because that's what had to be done, right? Right? Is that what we're saying? Is that the excuse we're giving? But Yahweh says you are going to bring your tithes and your first fruit into his house, his house, his house. Misakah. Okay, that root shares that same root with the treasure, the miskana that we just said. And it means a pouring, a libation, a molten metal, cast image, or a drink offering. In other words, it has two distinct meanings. It can either refer to an idol or a pagan god, an image, another husband. Ouch, another husband, which has been formed from molten metal and been poured into a cast, or it can be referred to as the drink offering that's associated with what is brought forth in the sacrifices to seal a covenant relationship. Okay, pouring out a drink offering concluded the treaty or alliance back in the ancient Near East. It was symbolic. It was a symbolic act taking place, and now we find this very thing, this act of this drink offering being poured out. It ratifies the covenant sealed that's associated with the storehouses where we are to bring our tithes. His storehouse, bring the tithe into my house, says Yahweh, and see if I will not. Okay, his house. Previously, the Israelites, they had the same opportunity to do this concerning the storehouses of Yah. We have that, to be a container for his seed, to be a container for his word, to shoulder the responsibilities of the Torah. By doing this, then we're provided for. Our flocks are taken care of. They're fed and watered. What he's given us is blessed. What we put our hand to is blessed. Let's just go to Deuteronomy and say what it says. See what it says. When you follow my word, you will be blessed in the city, the country, your barns, your storehouses, your kneading trough, the fruit of your womb. You will be above and not beneath, the head and not the tail. And we can go on from there, but the curse list is much bigger. So we have this idea here. When you do that, when you follow his way of finances, when you don't serve the master slavery through worry and fret, just trying to make the ends meet and the bills be paid. So we're serving that money. That's become our focus. When we do that, instead of walking into his kingdom, we're serving another master. But he says, what are we supposed to do? Do we realize the significance now of that bringing in the tithes, the first fruit, becomes part of what seals the covenant, our covenant relationship with him, that we're the one that we're entering into or that we're already in, which is why it was to be done once they entered the land. Guys, he doesn't change. We need to follow his way. Bringing tithes and first fruit sends a message. It sends a message to Yah. It gets his attention. It shows him that we're ready to seal the deal, that we do trust him in all things, not trust him in everything, but how we're going to make ends meet. And because we have that chink in our armor, that little hole in our lives, it allows the enemy to come in, and we really are serving mammon, because that's where our mind and our life is focused, and there's no trust. And it's hard, folks. It's so hard. But we have to begin by following his way. And you're not following his way if you do not give. Because then you're opening the door, and that spirit of slavery can come and take over your life. And maybe it already has, because I know a lot of good people that do love Yah, but they are driven by trying to figure out how to make it all work. And so they pour in hours upon hours upon hours at work, and with little payoff, because they're serving another master. Yeshua instructed his disciples, he said, to be generous, to be charitable. He continued by warning them about the preoccupation with mundane needs. Don't be worried about all this stuff. Stop the worry and start living in his kingdom and living through his kingdom ways, and let that Prince of Peace that in Isaiah 9:6, we see that shalom come by you, because there's lots of great things when we serve him. But we have to take a really good stock in our lives and say, are we serving money? Are we serving in that where our worry, our fret, and even our finances are placed in a different, where they shouldn't be? That is, stop worrying and start fretting. Start following his word on how to manage your money. Stop making excuses. I have no temple. There's no Levite. Well, I got every one of those covered, because it's all excuses so that you can hold on, and the enemy brings confusion, and he can hold on to you through a spirit of slavery and that serving of trying to just make ends meet. And it's hard in this day and this hour, but we have to be in his kingdom way of finances, not the enemy's. Stop building Pharaoh's storehouses. Mark. All right.
I'm trying. I'm clicking, and it ain't coming up. So can a rich man enter the kingdom of heaven?
Yes,
Yes.
because it's all about, when you're talking about the rich, it's about what you do with the resources he's given you. The believers are so often focused on Lazarus and the servant, and you're talking about the rich and the poor. But let's be really honest. Let's go back to the Jewish culture. Jewish people can make money.
Mm-hmm.
They are blessed that way.
Mm-hmm.
But what they do with it is the problem.
Right.
But that's why I didn't really want to take it from that perspective.
Yeah,
We don't often think of ourselves as serving money. We think that's oh no. And I'm talking to all of us. I'm talking to myself. Where it's a hard one. It's a hard one.
Yeah, I think it's the frame of mind that a person is in. I've known people that are quite wealthy that are, in my opinion, for all normal purposes, appear to be serving God to the fullest, and they're very wealthy. I was trying to rack my brain while you were and think of people that I used to know. I knew one guy that had inherited all of his money, and his parents were very worldly. They were not religious whatsoever at all, but he was, and he inherited loads of money and just let it ride. He didn't make the money his God. God was his God, and he served God. He had money and did more with it, and invested it into the kingdom and the whole thing. I think it's a frame of mind that you have, rather than and of course that plays into who you're going to serve, of course, but to have a frame of mind where God is my God and I have money. Now, God, what can I do with this money? What do you want me to do with this money? That type of thing. And I think a lot of people think that they see worldly rich people and their thoughts, they immediately judge and think along the lines of, that person's going to hell. Look at all the money they got. That person's going to hell. That type of thing, when they don't really know the person. And it really boils down to that person and their relationship with God, as with everything. And I mean, being enslaved to money is, once again, it's a frame of mind. It's where you come from.
But I think I would say that a lot of believers are enslaved to it.
Oh, yeah.
Because we're driven, we're worried about how we're going to pay the bills, make ends meet, put food on the table. We're worried, fretting. So we pursue, how can we get more money so we can take care of it? And it's really become our slave master. We're serving mammon.
Yeah, it's a poverty mentality. Sure. I think there's different levels of poverty mentality, or mammon mentality, maybe is the way to look at it. You can be middle class. For instance, I grew up middle class. We never wanted for anything. I don't remember my parents ever complaining about money, or that we were in a tight spot or anything like that, but we weren't rich. So I grew up in a middle mentality of everything's okay, and I will just make my life do what it needs to do. I love the Lord, so I'll go to work and I'll make the money, and everything goes good until something doesn't go good. And then I'm going to let the Lord handle it. But I don't know. I what you said really covered it all. It's just that I know both sides of it. I know that there are people that immediately look at a rich person and think that person's going to hell.
I've never thought that.
Yeah, I know, but I do know people that have even responded in that direction before. And I also know the other side of the coin, that there are people that are quite wealthy that are serving God to the fullest and doing everything they can, and money keeps coming back to them. Give, and it shall be given unto you. Good measure, pressed down and shaken together and running over, shall men give into your bosom. For with the same measure that you meet withal, it shall be measured unto you again.
Amen. Guys, I want you to think of what he just said. With the same measure that you're giving to his kingdom, and you're giving to him, not to a person or a ministry. When you give that money in good faith with a great heart, you're giving to him through that vessel. But he's the one that has to deal with if there's a heart or an issue that's not right. That's irrelevant. But good measure, if you're using a small measure, and by the way, the overflow, if you haven't even tithed, then the other stuff doesn't even go on yet. That has to come first. The overflow comes through the what's above and beyond. I was going to say a quick story. I know I'm taking your time here, Mark.
No, go ahead. No.
I for a long time I sat under a pastor, and he talked about his father. His father would give 2/3 of everything he had to the kingdom, and somehow the more he gave, the more he had. The more he gave, the more he had. Well, and that's how he got it, increased it up to that number, because he saw, obviously, he was giving with a good heart, and he was giving, wanting to reach people. And I love that. 2/3. And that story that I had, I saved up for years as a little kid, because back in my day, to get 10 cents was a huge thing. We didn't get allowances and things like that. Right. But I remember I saved up, and I finally got $5 total, and I wanted to get a Bible. I wanted a living Bible. Remember, I was a kid. I was like 5 or 10.
Yeah, living Bible. Oh, yeah.
No, I think I was more like 7 maybe. But nonetheless, I wanted a living Bible. I still have that Bible, by the way.
Yeah.
And
I think I have mine.
There was a preacher on TV, and I was listening to him. And at that age, I felt compelled that I was supposed to give. And so it took me so long to give that $5, but I wrote a letter to the ministry, and I put my $5, what made up the $5 in that envelope. I actually read it on air. If you want to know who it was PTL. It was Jim Baker.
Oh, yeah. Okay. Praise God.
And I did give, I'm a kid, but I just wanted to touch people's lives and meet needs even then. And within 2 weeks, and not from parents or something else, I had $5 in my hand. So at that age, I learned very early on, you can't outgive Yah, but you have, he says, don't even bother giving if you don't have a good heart about it. If you're not cheerful about it, if you're like, oh, I can't believe I have to do this, don't bother, because it's as if you didn't, But no worrying, no fretting.
Well,
it's a hard one.
It's easy to, if you're not grounded in things to begin with, in your walk with God to begin with, and your understanding of the Word of God and how all this works, if you're not really there, but yet you love the Lord and you're living and things go bad, it's one of those things of having to acclimate and learn. That's when you need others. That's when we need others, because doing it on our own is rarely going to work. And so, that would always be my advice, is don't try to solve this on your own. Get somebody else that knows better.
Amen to that.
I think that's where that's where your plummet comes, is trying to solve it without God. And I'm talking about others. I'm talking about human beings, others that can help you with this. Doesn't mean that you're not relying on God. When you rely on others, it does not mean that you're not relying on God.
As long as they don't become your source.
It just means that you don't understand the process and what you should do. That's all. if you're seeking it out and it's others that you need to seek out because you don't know that process within God, there's nothing wrong with that. That's not wrong. That's not a sin. That's good. Go find out. Learn how to do it. Learn how to not worry about your processes. So anyway.
I wanted to, as we end this, I wanted to read Philippians 6-8,
Good.
4:6-8. Just says,
That's good.
be anxious about nothing, but in
Yeah.
everything by prayer
Yeah.
and supplication with thanksgiving, let your requests be made known to God. And the peace of Yah, or Elohim, which surpasses all understanding, will guard your hearts and your minds through Yeshua Messiah. Finally, brethren, whatever things are true, whatever things are noble, whatever things are just, whatever things are pure, whatever things are lovely, whatever things are of good report, if there is any virtue and if there is anything praiseworthy, meditate, dwell on these things.
Amen. And that scripture I quoted a while ago was Luke 6:38. Given it shall be given unto you. My gosh, in Kim Josephson's church, man, we said that, we memorized that, said it during the service, every service that we had. Yeah.
Maybe we should do that. Maybe we should return there. So somehow, sometimes we have to say things over and over before it pierces the hardness of our heart and we get it.
Yeah. Well, that's a long verse, actually.
Once you what?
Look at it, it's real long.
So. I think I'm going to do that on Shabbat.
There you go.
Thank you, Mark. I think I'm going to have us pull out the word and say that on Shabbat as a congregation. So,
awesome. I mean, that was like 30 some years ago.
Doesn't mean it's wrong.
No, but I mean, I still today, I didn't even have to think about it. All I have to do is start it off, and there it is. Mm-hmm. And it's just, yeah. That's getting it in your heart. That's where it is. So
I love that.
We're good. All right. We're going to go to the third of the show, and we'll be right back.
We'll be dancing in the streets, dancing at his feet, dancing in the streets of gold. We'll be dancing in the streets, dancing at his feet.
Hey, Sandy.
Hey.
I have a top 10 survey. I'll bet you can't figure out what the top 10.
I think you'll be able to figure out mine within one or two.
Okay. Well, I took it out. I took our top 10 deal out. I don't have an intro for it. Oh, well, I'll slip it in later. Okay. I went first last week. So you're going to go first this week. Number 10, whatever you have. I'll try to figure it out.
Like I said, you'll figure it out. We pantsed a guy in the middle of the office.
Oh, say that again?
He pantsed. Do you know what pantsed is?
Yeah, I know what pants means. Yeah.
He pantsed a guy in the middle of the office.
He pantsed a guy? Okay.
Or you could put she.
Okay. All right. I thought maybe we were talking about one type of person or something. Top 10 just idiotic things to do at work.
No.
Okay. All right. Here's my number 10. Agnostics, unaffiliated knowns, 27%.
The makeup of the belief system in the United States in this day.
Getting there. Just build on that, and we'll figure it out. So, okay, you're number 9.
Had a friend call in for him, but this is what his friend said. He got run over by a car and he's dead.
Are you sure my first guess wasn't right? The top 10 idiotic things that your friends will do for you. No, not even close. Okay. Number 9, Buddhist, 29%.
Agnostics and Buddhists. And it's not the makeup percentage in U.S. So the percentage of people around the world in their belief system.
Nope. Not there. Okay. Number 8.
Cheering under the influence.
What?
Cheering, rah, rah, under the
Under
influence.
the influence. Never heard of that one. Aren't most cheerleaders under the influence? I don't know.
I will take issue with that. I was a cheerleader and I was never under the influence.
So was
There.
my wife. My wife was a cheerleader too. Okay. Top 10 things people. No, because the first one was not. Top 10 things. Because I've already kind of what people do. Top 10 things people do that are out of line. I don't know.
No.
Out of norm. I don't know. Okay. Where are we at? Number 7? No, number 8. Or my number 8. Jewish, 37%. You'll notice the numbers get higher as my numbers grow up. So.
The top 10 religions.
No.
I don't know.
No. So, okay. Number 7 for you, I guess.
Singing a Bob Marley song.
Singing? Oh, nothing wrong with that. His not his birthday, but some anniversary was just singing a Bob Marley song. Well, there's nothing wrong with that. Top 10 things
specifically I shot the sheriff. Anyway.
That you what?
Specifically, I shot the sheriff.
I shot the sheriff. Okay. Oh, okay. That might change it a little bit. That's not a Bob Marley song.
Well, this one it's Bob Marley's "I Shot the Sheriff."
His version of the song. I get it. Okay. Okay. So along with those others, then top 10 things you do in running away from the law.
No.
Okay. All right. But my number 7, Hindu. 41%. I know. It's just going to frustrate you until I tell you.
41, 37. Hindu.
These are in this survey was done in the United States. Okay.
The top 10 religions making a headway in the U.S.
Well, no. I'll give you a hint. I give you a hint. This is a survey where they asked people a question within different religions. They specifically went to different religions and asked a question. And this is the percentage of their answers for that question.
The percentage of those who believe there's a life after death.
Nope, that's not it. Okay, you're number 6.
Using the copier to make counterfeit currency.
Top 10 things that'll land you in jail.
Nope.
Okay. Some of your others probably wouldn't, but who knows? Okay. Number 6, Catholicism, 64%.
I'm thinking the percentage of people that
you're gonna freak when you hear this.
I have no idea.
Okay, I'm so same thing with me. I'm not going to have an idea with yours. I guess number 5 for you.
Getting that Twix at any cost.
Getting that what?
Twix.
Twix? Candy bar at any cost. In other words, shoplifting it if you need to. Huh? Okay. Top 10 things people do when they have the weirdest infatuations. I don't
Well,
know.
I was going to say this Twix is caught in one of those in the machine, the little
Oh
spiral.
yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's not it.
Okay. All right. So I guess I'm on number 5. Muslim, 84%. Nobody's commenting in the stream either.
Nope, they're not.
Okay.
I got nothing.
I know. It's gonna. You're just gonna flip when you actually hear that. I'm sure I will too on yours. So
No, you won't. You'll go, oh, yeah.
number 4.
Stuffing students in the trunk for a snack run.
Oh, these are all.
I have to admit, I've done that. Not for a snack run, though. To go to church.
Oh, putting students.
Oh, we would stick my car. We'd stick people in the trunk. We would fill that car to capacity. Of course, nobody's in seatbelts when I was at Earl Roberts to go to church every week. Yep.
Uh-huh. Well, he used to stick people in the trunk to go to the drive-in theater.
Oh.
Yeah.
Stuffing students in the trunk for a snack run.
Top 10 things that you do to get around something that you don't want to have to do.
No.
Getting there,
I think you're getting further away.
Okay. No, I am? Oh, okay. Well, okay. All right. I'll think about that. Number 3, white evangelical Protestants, 88%.
Those who believe that Jesus is a person.
Getting real close, but no cigar. You get no cigar today. So, all right. That was number. Was that? I'm supposed to do number.
I'm on number 3.
You're on number 3. Oh, I should have done my number 4.
Yeah.
Okay, sorry. Number 4 was Mormon, 86%. So, okay. So you do your number 3, and then I'll do mine again. Sorry.
Peeing in an elevator.
Oh! Top 10 things you just really don't want to do. Don't top 10 things not to be influenced to do. How about that?
Well, I'm going to give you a little hint on this one. Not a hint, but an Orange County Sheriff's Department person, I'm not going to say his name, was identified by camera by doing this at least 5 times. It was a sheriff deputy.
A sheriff's deputy did it?
Yeah.
Okay, you got my number 3, white evangelical Protestant, 88%. Okay, you're number 2. I think, isn't that where we're at? Didn't you just?
Yeah, I'm on number 2 now.
Okay.
Picked up his car with a forklift and stood underneath it to see what was rattling.
Okay, top 10 stupidest people on the planet.
No.
Okay, my number 2, black Protestants, 89%. It's just one more than white evangelical Protestants. What question did they ask all these different religions, people in religions? And you were close with your Jesus.
Those that believe there is a Messiah.
No, but again, real close. Yes. Okay, so I guess you're number 1. Is that where we're at? Must be. I did my
Pretending to be pregnant.
Pretending to be pregnant. Oh my gosh. Top. They're all everything I guessed. All of these pertain to. So.
Well, this person took paid maternity leave so she could go work somewhere else because it was seasonal work with better pay. And she brought in fake ultrasounds, like everything.
Wow. Oh my gosh. Okay, top 10 things to do to get fired.
You got it.
Is
It's the
that it?
weirdest things. It's the weirdest reasons that people were fired.
We're fired. Okay, well that's good. I did it on number 1, so you're going to do it on number
Yeah,
1.
I won't. But I did give you that big hint when I gave the details of the being pregnant.
Kinda. Yeah, kinda. Even though, yeah, okay. My number 1, Jehovah's Witnesses, 90%.
I don't know.
You weren't far off on the last one. Okay, you don't know. Top 10 religions, people in religions asked, are you absolutely certain there is a God?
Well, that's pretty close.
That's why I said you were getting really close. So, of course, agnostics are 27%. I always understood agnostics, though, do believe there's a God. They just don't want to be a part of a religion. So that,
yeah, it's the atheists.
is a little off.
It's the atheists who say they don't believe in a God, but really they do. It's themselves or something else.
Yeah. Right. And then, of course, Buddhists, 29% of them. Jewish, 37, only 37.
Isn't that sad?
I know.
Because here we're not talking about a faith. We're talking about blood then, or
Yeah.
people that consider themselves that bloodline. I'll
Right.
put it that way. Because it's all, to be Hebrew is all about following the Torah and believing there are no other gods before me. So if you can't get number 1, you are not Hebrew, and Judah is part of that tribe. You're just a person that's.
I'm with you. It's interesting though that there are a massive amount of Jewish people that don't have any problem saying they're secular Jews. Okay, so I'm a secular Jew. I don't know. Do I believe in God? I don't know. Is it a big deal, or what do I need to do? Kind of thing is the way I get it with that. But
well, and I hear all those people that call themselves secular, and even some that don't consider themselves secular, are not following Torah. They're eating pork. They're doing all the, whatever they want.
So I'm wondering. I didn't go into detail on how they actually did it, but I mean, possibly just interviewing people and asking, well, what religion do you adhere to, and do you believe in God? So, and white evangelical Protestants are 88%. Black Protestants is only 1% more than that. So it's interesting. Jehovah's Witnesses, 90% say that they believe in God. What's that tell you?
We live in a messed up world, topsy-turvy world.
Oh, it really is. I don't know. I don't know. I don't know where to go with it sometimes, because it's one of those things where you can't really do anything about it, but just keep doing what you're doing and let it fall by the wayside. But I think for the most part, most of us don't know. If we meet a person, we have no idea. I mean, even if we're portraying that we are religious or we believe in God and this is our lifestyle to do this, we really can't tell the difference between anybody anymore. Hindus, you might be able to tell by the way they dress, the women dress, or something like that. But most of the time, I mean, even white Christian women wear clothes with their cleavage showing and short dresses and things like that, but they don't have a bit of problem saying, well, yeah, I'm a Christian, that type of thing. I believe in God, but they're not portraying what they believe.
But aren't we saying if we're all making gods in our own image, then we're not believing in the God. And that's why all these religions, they believe in the God of their image.
That's good. Yeah.
Christianity, Jew, all of it. I mean, even Christianity, I think you said 87% of Christians believe there's a God. Then you're not, okay, first off, I go with the same with the Jewish people. If you don't believe in a God, you're not a Christian.
Yeah. Yeah. It's funny how people will acknowledge that they'll acknowledge a religion, but I don't really believe in God, kind of thing. So that's odd to me. But anyway, I guess that's where it goes. I'm sitting here looking at all these different ones. It's just
great conversation starter.
Yeah, really. Really. If you had this in your head and you were just talking to somebody new, it would be really good. But anyway, very good. Well, so
our top 10 battle of the day.
It is. It's good. All right. Well, I know what I've got one for you. This will be good. Give me what is the difference between the words completed and finished?
Mark, really? You're going to do that to me? Completed. You're finished.
It's one of the hardest
completed. You are
questions, I guess, that is out there, according to the internet. This question.
I don't know. You tell me what the difference is.
From what I'm reading, it says no dictionary has ever been able to define the difference between complete and finished. However, in a linguistic conference held in London, England, Son Sherman, an Indian American, was the clever winner. His final challenge was this. His response was, when you marry the right woman, you are complete. If you marry the wrong woman, you are finished. And when the right woman catches you with the wrong woman, you are completely finished. His answer received a 5-minute standing ovation.
That's pretty good. What a great way to. Oh, that's good.
It caused me to contemplate the difference between complete.
It's a shower thought.
Yeah, it's a shower thought. I'll send this to John and see if I can't get it submitted to his shower thought. So, wow, interesting. I thought I'd bring that to you.
Well, it's good.
Yeah.
Completed and finished. Though it is making me want to go do a more complete teaching on being it is finished. Although we get that, but
that's good. Sparked a little something for you.
It did. I'm like, okay, if I study that out, where could I take that? So
I heard you guys talking about the Super Bowl last Monday on John's show. Interesting little conversation you guys had. And yes, of course, we watched it.
Yeah, you and Jonathan, and yeah.
I don't know if anybody told you or not, but they went in. It's only the second time in history the Super Bowl has gone into overtime.
I had no idea.
They were tied at the end. At the end of the Super Bowl, they were tied. And so what they do is, go ahead. Sorry, you started.
No, I just thought that Kansas City was supposed to wipe it clean pretty easy.
Well, I'll tell you, 49ers put up a good battle, but they were major underdogs, extreme underdogs. So everybody was kind of rooting for them that aren't big Chiefs fan anyway. But it was interesting. I didn't know. I thought that when you're tied at the end of the Super Bowl or any game, they just play until the next person makes a point, and then they win, right? That's what I would assume. But
I always thought they'd give you a chunk of time, and you gotta.
Yeah, I see it. They actually add a quarter. The game is played in 4 quarters. They add a whole 15-minute quarter. Literally, at 10 seconds left in the game, the 49ers are 3 points ahead.
Wow, what a nail biter.
10 seconds, and then they're down. The Chiefs are playing. They mess something up. They have one more down in 5 seconds. The clock is ticking, and they make a touchdown in 5 seconds.
So what were you doing when that was going on?
I was standing, jumping up and down and cheering. 5 seconds.
5 seconds.
I'm telling you, the most massive thing I think I've ever seen. It was huge, absolutely huge. So I really felt sorry for the 49ers. The camera's panning across them, and they're all like just completely blasted. So anyway, but
what a game! I guess if there was a game to watch, it would have been that one.
That would have been the one to watch for sure. It was pretty massive. They tell me that I saw the one last year, but I don't remember. So anyway, Sandi, I love you so much. This has been a great show as always. Any last quick words before I throw us out of here?
Zero.
Okay. Thank you, Father, for this wonderful show. So if you missed the show or want to tell somebody else about it or want to watch it again, go to lambnetwork.tv. I think you can see that right there, lambnetwork.tv, and go to the on-demand section. You'll find us in there somewhere. Lamb's fixing to change up. There's a few things you'll notice that are a little different coming up. Otherwise, we'll see you next week, most likely. God bless everybody. All right, so where am I supposed to go from here? I don't know. I'm not ready at all.
We are richly blessed to bring you what we believe is the fullest, most diverse, yet up-to-date progressive teachings, discussion, and prayer programming you can find anywhere on this planet. Be sure to take the tour of the MessianicLambRadio.com website. I'm Susan Hoogie, thanking you for joining us on the Messianic Lamb Video Network.
Be excellent to each other.
Be excellent to each other.
It's almost like amen. I think it means whatever you want it to mean, but mostly it's just like be excellent to each other.
I think it just means to be excellent to each other, really.
We'll be dancing in the streets, dancing at his feet, dancing in the